Good morning. I'm Veronica. I see you're seeking a management position with our company. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Veronica Green. I have been with Anthem going on 29 years now. During this time, I've gained quite a bit of experience with continuously learning and improving myself. I am currently working towards my bachelor's degree in non-clinical healthcare. I'm very career-driven and ready for a new challenge, and I really believe my prior experience will help me do a good job for you. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
I just have to ask you additional questions I would like to ask.
Okay.
Tell me about your past work experience.
I began in the microfilm department within Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Georgia, and then I transitioned into Medicare as a claims associate and a customer service representative. Then I moved on and I managed the call center. I managed our Medicare secondary payer unit, claims unit, and customer service, and our provider outreach and education team over the years. While I was on the education team, I trained providers on billing. I did this via web, teleconference, and I spent a large portion of the time I've been with Medicare on the Q-Care system. And once we moved that system, during the process before we moved that system, I moved to front-end document management services, in which I managed for scanning and billing. And then that was on the Q-Care system. So then when they outsourced that system overseas, I moved to our national accounts implementation team, where I'm currently working.
Okay, great. Describe a time when you worked well on a team.
When I was a customer service rep at the Georgia Medicare call center, we obtained 3 contracts for major dialysis chains. During that time, the customer service area did not really know a lot about billing for dialysis, so it was difficult in our handling phone calls. So as those inquiries increased, I volunteered to be a dedicated dialysis representative, in which I went through our manuals and transmittals and I learned the dialysis billing. When I did that, we implemented a dedicated ESRD for end-stage renal dialysis line, and I would train all the dialysis facilities. At one point, one of the chains asked me to come to the corporate office and train their facilities. When I did this, they actually recorded me, and they used this recording to train all of their different satellite locations. So it turned out to be a very good situation.
That's great. Being a manager has you running in many directions, and time is a huge priority. Tell me about the time you had too many things to do and you had to prioritize your tasks.
Sure. At the time when after I left Medicare and I managed our front-end document management services, I was in that position for a couple of years, and then our company decided to outsource the front-end mail services to a vendor overseas. When they did this, our other 2 managers moved to other positions with the company. Our director retired, and they put me under a new director in Ohio, in which I worked very closely with her, and I agreed to stay with her and that department during the transition of the work. So I went from approximately 30 associates to over 70 associates as the 3 units were combined. I knew a little bit about the other 2 units, but not as much. So I had to work closely with my operations experts to monitor the day-to-day operations and make sure we were able to meet our service level of turnaround time within 24 hours. This transition took a little over a year. During that time, we were able to meet our service levels, barring any system issues. We met them daily, and I was able to work closely with my staff until it decreased down to 0 employees.
Okay. Tell me about the time you had to go above and beyond the call of duty. How did you handle the situation?
When I was a manager for Medicare secondary payer, during my time in Medicare, CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, had decided to outsource all of the MSP offices to one regional contractor. When they did this, I was selected to be on the bidding team for Georgia, which we travel and bid and work on the request for proposals. On one of the trips, as we was working on the request for proposal, I received a call from my VP. And what they were doing is, instead of bidding for the contract, they had decided to, CMS made an agreement with a Indian tribunal organization So they awarded the contract to Chickasaw Nation Industries. When they did this, then I had to work with my team to transition all of the work to Chickasaw, in which we had to log all our cases in a database and box all the work up. It was a real challenging time, but my team was amazing and worked closely together, and we were there till 10 o'clock almost every night getting this work transitioned. But it was a successful process, and the good thing is the people within my department were able to find other positions within the company.
That's great. Tell me about a time when you worked effectively under pressure.
I actually have several examples of this, but one that really sticks in my mind is when I became, it was a supervisor at the time of our Medicare call center. We had to send reports on a monthly basis to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services with our staff. When I took over, within the first week, I received notification that our department was being audited because the prior supervisor's reporting had quite a few errors. So I was very nervous being a new supervisor and then being audited my first week. So the way I handled it was I reached out to the auditor that was within CMS and let her know I was new, and we talked about the reporting, and she went through everything with me. She came and did the audit. We got our reporting corrected. I was able to work with a business analyst in our department to get all of our reporting corrected. So then we were audited for the next 2 years, in which we did receive 100 scores on our audits, no system findings, and they actually even took best practices back to the other call centers. So it really turned out, what was a very scary thing really turned out to be a good thing and really helped me.
Okay, thank you. Give me an example of a time when you showed initiative.
Well, when I first began with Anthem, I always wanted to assist other teams by learning their work and helping other areas. So then when they would get behind, they would have backup and help. So this really opened my first door for me. During the years, the company was much smaller and we didn't have that many positions, so taking the initiative to learn other people's positions really helped me. It moved me into different positions where I moved to customer service. Then I did it, for other areas too. It helped me to learn, and then it helped me to improve myself over the years and to get where I am today.
Okay, great. Is there anything else you would like us to know about you?
I think I've pretty much covered everything. I think my years of experience make me an excellent candidate for the position that you're looking to fill. I knew I could do a great job for you.
Okay, great, Veronica. It was nice speaking with you. I see you have a ton of experience. I see that your dedication is impressive. You've been with the same company, for close to 29 years, and you seem to be an excellent employee. We'll be in contact with you soon. Is there any other questions that you have for me?
No, thank you. I appreciate your time today.
And thank you.